I'm Matt Cerrone here with USA Today's Ted Berg, and here's today's Mets video recap for February 16th. It was a casual, typical day here in Port St. Lucie, Florida. Not a whole lot going on. We saw Syndergaard and Harvey throw bullpen sessions. I think the more noteworthy thing in terms of people speaking was Jay Bruce, and finally getting to see him, hear from him. I was sort of taken back by his, I think he was very professional, but you got this feeling, and I wrote on MetsBlog, that it was kind of like someone being invited to a party that they may not have been invited to. Like,
right,
like,
the kid who didn't get the invitation to the birthday party, and then you're like, oh, we invited every other kid in the class, like, you just gotta let that kid come. It was a little bit awkward. You gotta say, like, he was as professional as possible about it, right? Like, he didn't say a single thing wrong, and he said what you would hope to be true, which is that he ignored the rumors and he manages to keep a level head, and he will play as hard as he can for the Mets for as long as he's with the Mets, but he did have to keep qualifying everything like, well, I'm the guy as long as I'm here. The best quote he had, which was obvious, and this is true for all of us, but coming out of his mouth, it sounded a little different, which was, I'm here until I'm not. Right, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of that. There were a lot of like, well, like, what can I do? You know, and that's true. Like, it's a weird field where you can just get traded, right? You couldn't just get sent if I wanted to send you to Cincinnati, that would be, you'd need like legal action. And you better ask for more than Dilson Herrera. The other person that spoke today that was interesting that we had not heard from yet was Glenn Sherlock. Not a big headline person, but interesting only because they clearly brought this guy in from Arizona to work specifically with Travis dArnaud. Watch him out here a little bit. Seems very nose catching, you could tell. And I think dArnaud missed that the last year or so without Bob Guerin. And now to have Sherlock sort of in his pocket, really spending a lot of time with him on his throwing. That I could see. Kevin Long has worked with dArnaud in the offseason a lot on his swing to try to adjust that little bat wrap deal that he does. And so, this is all designed to make Travis dArnaud realize the potential that he showed in 2015. Do you think he's capable of that? Yeah, it was really interesting hearing Terran Collins talk about it, just in speaking about going through last season without that catcher coach in-house. It's not really something you think about from the outside, is that they are making corrections through the course of a season, right? If you notice your catcher gets into a bad habit, there are things you can do, coaching things you can do to fix that. We tend to think all that happens in spring training and then the season starts and it's just go win the game, right? But they're still developing these guys and coaching these guys. Obviously, it can't hurt to have an expert, someone who can work with dArnaud, who has shown flashes of that potential and hasn't quite put it all together. I think, though, for him, the key is always going to be health. Of course, right? Of course. Lastly, just real quick, Jose Reyes in camp. Always great to see him, in a Mets uniform, but particularly in spring, and just kind of watching him back here, on the field is very nostalgic, but also exciting. Still got that arm. That's the thing, is you start thinking about the logjam they face in the infield, and they've got, I think, a couple of Reyes performed really well after coming over to the Mets last year, and then they've also got Wilmer Flores, and it almost seems like a redundancy, but I don't think a lot of Mets fans want to see, especially Flores, go elsewhere. Right, exactly. So listen, thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll be back again with more of this tomorrow, and keep checking Facebook, SNY's Facebook page for all kinds of content, whether it's coverage of the press conferences, different video clips like this. We'll be back tomorrow. Let's go Mets.